welcome to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogel, your host, and we're not the version of Full House that you normally see on TV, but we're doing our best to imitate that. As we do have a full house here today, as you can see. So we talk about Child Abuse Awareness Month. That's the month of April, and during the month of April, there's a program going on called the Green Dot Program. We got Jennifer Fowler here, and she's going to introduce a few special people that we've brought along with us today to tell us a little bit about who they are and what they're doing. Jennifer?
Yes, my name is Jennifer Fowler. I'm with Flagey Memorial Hospital, part of Kentucky One Health, and we received almost $300,000 this past year for a 3-year grant, and our initiative is to reduce violence. Our 3 main tenets are bullying, sexual assault, and dating violence. So we're going into all of 5 high schools, which includes Bethlehem, Thomas Nelson, Nelson County, and Horizons Academy, and Bardstown High. And we're training 15% of all the high school students to be active bystanders in their own school to reduce violence. And today I've brought 3 of the Green Dot trained students. And if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Rachel Tishner, and I'm a student at Thomas Nelson High School.
I'm Emily Hall, and I'm a senior at Nelson County High School.
I'm Elizabeth Montgomery, and I'm a senior at Bethlehem High School.
All right. Well, and then you also have somebody from Bardstown High School not here with us today.
Yeah, I don't think we could fit them in the room.
Oh, we need a big room. But one of the things I guess does bring to mind when you talk about this is it's an issue that's been coming up more and more the last few years is the bullying issue. Obviously, it's been going on since time immemorial, but it seems like it's getting a whole lot more attention in the last few years. And one of the things I hear all the time from school administrators, we don't catch them. We don't see it going on. If we don't see it going on, we can't do anything about it. So basically, when you're talking about bringing peer pressure into it, that's a whole different way of looking at this.
That's right, and I think that's a perfect way to explain this program. We provide the tools for the students to be the active bystanders and to be the leaders. So we choose all these leaders, which are 15% of each high school, to really broadcast a positive peer pressure by letting people know that bullying is not accepted here. And me as a leader of this high school I'm gonna let my friends and family know about this.
Lose our furniture here in a few minutes. That's
Too many people. So that's how they do it. It's really a positive peer pressure type thing. So I think you stated it perfectly.
Well, exactly, because I've heard that's an issue for years is people don't stand up for other people. Now, they'll see it going on, but nobody wants to be the one that says anything, or they're afraid if I stand up, they'll start bullying me.
That's right.
So people either go along or just do the best to ignore it, and that's not the best answer.
That's right. So every time someone either stands up for someone else or spreads the word, we call those green dots.
Now, how do you stand up for somebody? Now, when I say stand up, I don't mean jump into the middle of the bullying, or do you go report it? Do you call somebody? What do you do?
Well, we have a couple different ways. Do any of you guys want to talk about that?
Well, there's like distracting, and like that's just to divert the attention off of like the situation at hand, just kind of like lower the levels of like tension in the room and things like that, because you find that like if people have time to calm down and really like think about the situation and not go with that first gut reaction of being angry or being upset, then there's a way to just kind of discuss that and like bring that on attention, and that's one that we really focused on. And I know our training was different ways to like distract.
Another thing that we really talked about in our training was the direct approach, and this is an approach that a lot of people think of whenever you're going to stand up for somebody, like you said. And so we just talked about different things and different ways that you could approach a situation and be direct with the person. And that might not always be the correct way to do it in certain situations, but it definitely is in others. So
one we also learned about was to delegate the situation. So maybe you see something going on, like maybe a fight or something, and you're not sure what's happening. You can if it's a student, you can ask a teacher to see what's going on, to see if hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, well, like you say, I've talked to some people before, and they say sometimes bullies don't even know they're bullies until somebody points it out to them. They don't realize that's what they're doing. They just think, they're just having fun, but they're having fun at somebody else's expense, and somebody else may not appreciate that.
That is so true. Going through this training, because we choose all the leaders of the high schools, so sometimes there might be someone that has been a bully thrown in that training just because they might be a leader within that school. But when we really start to define, because that's one of the parts of the training is define bullying, defining sexual assault, defining dating violence, you kind of see some people like, oh, that's me. You know, they kind of get that little twinge. But I think it also, you know, by giving them the definitions and by letting the peers define it, you know, not just by standards in a school, because they have a definition too. I think it opens the doors to a broader definition that lets people kind of say, hey, that was me the other day, and I really didn't, I didn't know that I was affecting people that way.
Well, you three are three of the leaders in this. How are you attracting other people to, say, join with you? I mean, obviously it's a program. It can't just be you three.
Well, well, one of the things that we talked about doing is using social media to just really spread the idea. So my friends and a few other people that we talked to, we just decided, like, okay, we're going to put this over our social media pages. And like she said, just let people know, like, this is what I stand for. And a lot of people, you'd be surprised, a lot of people will join with you. And so that's a big way that we really just try to push it through social media.
And like what I was going to say is you'd be surprised how fast the buzz of like something like this goes through the school. Like a lot of people wearing the t-shirts and things like that, and just people asking about it. So because of that, we've had like a lot of projects with our like National Honor Society to kind of do these like proactive green dots. And they do like compliments on Post-it notes, like in the bathrooms, like on the mirrors. It's like, oh, you look great today. And it's like, oh, you're beautiful. And like things like that to just like kind of spread the positivity throughout our school, and not necessarily like, oh, that girl's hair's a mess, or, you know, things like that, because that's what starts this tension and this things, instead of these proactive positive things that we've kind of like influenced in our school.
One of the projects that some of our art classes has done is they're participating in what's called the Memory Project, which is where art students will receive a picture of a child from like impoverished countries or kids who have gone through some difficult times, and then they'll paint or create a portrait of them to send back to them. And our art classes have been putting little green dots in there to sort of promote it worldwide.
Sort of a positive reinforcement to build somebody's self-esteem, I guess, to a degree. But also, I think one of the things I see as a positive of this is people are being bullied often feel like they're alone. And I think now they realize they're not alone anymore. They've got somebody they can actually talk to. They might even stand up for them.
And I think that's one way that Green Dot does help, because I think that those students who might not have necessarily picked to be in the training, but may be victims of some of these things that are happening, I think that they see allies in these people wearing these Green Dot shirts.
Now, this Green Dot, is this a national movement, state movement? Where does this come from?
It actually originated in the University of Kentucky. Her name was Dorothy. She was a social worker and created this program after they started looking at all the bystander effects, which has been around for ages and ages. And she worked with the CDC on a 5-year research project, and they just came out with the published studies last year saying that within colleges and high schools that have participated, they've seen a 40% reduction in sexual assault and 30 to 40% reduction in bullying and dating violence behaviors.
Right.
But in almost every college you can think of nowadays, including, actually I'm going to Western tomorrow, they have a Green Dot program, UK, U of L, Harvard, Yale. Most of the colleges that we're used to hearing about here in Kentucky and a lot of the other national colleges, they'll do this in freshman orientation. So this will be something that these students will also carry on when they get to college.
Well, how receptive is the schools to this, as far as the principals and the teachers, and everybody see this as a problem and welcome you in, or are there some people just saying we don't have a problem? What are you all doing?
The superintendents, Orr and Holzclaw and Mr. Hamilton and Marianne Downs from Bethlehem were on the forefront of this. So they actually worked with the hospital, with the Violence Prevention Coalition, to even choose this program. So they did a needs assessment within the county, and this came to the light. So they actually went out and tried to find the best program that they could, and they came up with that.
Well, how do you go about getting a Green Dot?
Oh man, this is our...
Well, the idea of Green Dot kind of stemmed from this depiction of a map. And so many of people like have seen this map. It might be to show like an epidemic or something you would see moving across the country. And so our epidemic is any form of violence, specifically bullying, sexual harassment, and dating violence. And so as we're like looking at this map, any active bullying, any active violence, there's a red dot on the map. And so when we go about this and we try to define what violence is and we try to define these different things, we also want to know how are we going to combat this. And so that's where the green dot comes in, because there's a green dot on the map. That's when anytime somebody kind of is an upstander or they're kind of using one of the three: direct, delegate, and distract. And so that's about kind of what it came from. And so as this program is coming through the different schools, we call it a training because it's really something you have to be active with. And so these people are now like inside the school and we're green dots. And so those are the green dots on the map combating it in a daily type of sense. So.
And we found that like just as red dots, they kind of spark other red dots because it goes back to that peer pressure and like, you know, you see someone do something, you think, well, okay, if that's how you're supposed to act.
Right. Violence
like
begets violence.
Yeah. But they also work the exact same way with the positive peer pressure. So if someone sees someone do nice, it encourages them to be nice. If someone sees someone stand up for someone, it'll encourage them to do the same. And it also works with, if they see someone stand up for someone else, they'll stand up for themselves. So we see that those green dots kind of multiply just as fast as those red dots. And whenever we see the green dots multiply more than the red dots, that's when we see a lower violence level. And that's where we're getting at, is just getting more people involved with green dots so that way we can lower the violence overall.
And like even getting involved can be like little simple things. Like if you see a student do something nice, you'll just put like a green dot on their locker. Or like even in our school, there were a lot of kids joking about it. Like anytime someone would disrupt class, they'd be like, "Oh, you're being a red dot, stop that." And it's
I like that.
spreads it.
Right. So, I mean, it's just like introducing this type of language. It's a way for kids to talk about it and make it their own instead of us adults kind of.
So if somebody out in TV land, a student or a
That's
parent,
right.
or anybody out there that wants
That's
to be
right.
more involved with what you're doing, what do they do? How do they get a hold of somebody? What do they do?
Well, you can contact me, Jennifer Fowler, at flagey.com. Also, on April 1st at 3:45, our Mayor Royalty and County Judge Exec Watts will be signing a proclamation declaring Green Dot Violence Prevention Day on April 1st. And so we're going to be reading the proclamation on the town square right there on the lawn at the visitor center. And we're going to have student representatives there. We're going to have a student speak and a parent speak. And everybody wear green that day. And also Just Baked has partnered with us. Everybody loves cupcakes. The first 300
How
customers.
can you be mad when you
I know,
got
you
cupcakes?
can. So the first 300 customers to go into Just Baked are going to get a free cupcake if they tell them they're green dot.
All right. Well, appreciate you all coming here and doing what you're doing. Like I know you've got your job cut out for you, but it sounds to me like you're making progress already. So and that's wonderful. So just keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully April's not the only month. I mean,
That's right.
It'll just get us started. Well, Jennifer, appreciate you all.
Thank you.
For you being here, and welcome to the show. And again, go out and do your part. If you want to get in touch with them, call Flagey Hospital, and you can get a hold of Jennifer, and she'll let you know what you can do. And again, be a green dot, don't be a red dot.
That's right.
We'll be back right after this message here on Channel 6 TV Community Focus.